Hi everyone, welcome back to the next video in the channel. In this video we are going to see today is how we can migrate an existing application from Internet Explorer 11 to the new Edge browser. So if you will see in front of me, this is the official announcement from Microsoft where they are saying about the retirement of the IE browser. So as of now, if you would have noticed, if you'll just open some of the application like or the docs.uipath.com on the internet browser, IE browser. So this is my IE browser. So you would see we are getting something that we have detected you are using Internet Explorer. Please use Microsoft Edge browser, right? So that is how most of the applications are now migrating from IE browser to the Edge browser, right? So if you are having an automation which is written in the IE browser, how can that be migrated to an Edge browser? Okay, so for that, recently UiPath on its forum has given a post which is to how to migrate your workflows from IE to Chrome Edge, planning and the selector migrations aspects, right? So I tried to followed these steps and I was successfully able to migrate from one application. I have created a sample process in the Internet Explorer and I just followed all of these steps one by one and I was successfully able to migrate from IE to the Edge browser. So that is what we are going to see in this video. I am in my UiPath Studio and in front of me I have an automation which I have written in Internet Explorer. Okay, so if I go to the open browser properties, you will see we are using the Internet Explorer here. Then the attached browser we are using here, also we are using the Internet Explorer. Okay, so this is a piece of automation which is written in Internet Explorer. So before continuing, let us see what exactly this automation is doing. So I will quickly go here and run the file. Okay, so now let us just wait for the bot to fire up. Okay, so the bot has started execution. You will see it has opened Internet Explorer. The first thing is it has browsed to the ACME URL. Now it will try to fetch the credential from the orchestrator, pass in the user ID and the password, login. Okay, once the login is successful, it will go to the healthcare, download the daily attachment, and whatever the data which is available on the screen, it will simply scrape the data and put it in a Excel which is called the data.excel. So if you'll see here, there is no file of data. If I click refresh, so this data is available. If I just quickly go ahead and open this guy, okay, so what do we exactly see? We see all the data which was available on the screen. Okay, so this is how this bot is written. So you will see there are various set of activities which I have used, such as the open browser, the attached browser, and this again this guy. So now if you will see, there are certain click activities also. So now agenda here is how exactly we can migrate this process to an Edge browser. So as we have seen that the IE browser is now getting decommissioned and everything is getting now switched to the Chromium Edge. How exactly can we migrate an existing automation? So that is what we are going to see now. To start the migration, let us follow the steps which are provided in the Uipath forum and let us try to execute each the step one by one. Okay, so what does this post say? So this is from Uipath. This says that following the Microsoft announcement of IE11, so this is going to decommission. What are the first thing? The first thing is that we should have the extension enabled. Okay, so if I just quickly go and click on this link of about the extension, you will see that the first thing that require is the Chrome extension that should be available in the UiPath Studio. Okay, and how can I do that? You will see I have to go to the tools and stage back view and we have to just select this this option. Okay, let us do that. So I'll quickly go back to my UiPath Studio. I will go to the home in the tools. Okay, and you will see these are the extension available. So for as of now, I do not have this option enabled, so I'll quickly go here and click on this. If the extension is already installed, it will give you a pop-up saying that the extension is already installed. So as of now, this is the first step that we have to install the setup. Okay, so I will just click OK and it is asking us to close everything. Okay, let me go here, close everything, click OK to continue. The setup is successfully installed. You need to enable the browser extension by navigating to Edge colon extension and then restart the browser. Okay, so let me just go to Edge extension and enable those. So let me go ahead and just follow the instruction. I'll go to the Microsoft Edge and it has told us to So UiPath web automation is added to the Microsoft Edge. Do you want to enable the extension? Yes, we want to enable the extension, so we have enabled the extension. Otherwise, what was the thing which UiPath was showing? So it was showing that you can always go here and type extensions, okay, like this. And here this web automation is by default, if it is disabled, you have to just go here and click on this enable. So that way you have to just enable the automation, and then the next thing was to restart it. Okay, I'll close this, and whenever we require, I can just go ahead and Edge browser, and now I'll just restart, and that would have installed the UiPath extension, web extension, on the Edge browser. Okay. Okay, so that completes our the first step, that is enabling the extension. Now let us go to the second step, which says that the UI automation activity should be 20.10 plus and all of these details. So you can get all these details. For example, if you are running on 18.4.x, the Edge Chromium support is not available to 18.4 robots. However, Chrome is supported, right? So as of now, we are planning to run it in the Edge Chromium. So I have to use this activity, that is UI automation 20.10 activities. So how can I verify? I will go to my studio. Under projects activities, I can see my UI automation activities package is 20.10.12. So that definitely should have the Chromium activities included. Okay, so we are good at this step also. In case you are not having this, you can always go here in the project, right click, and you have to go to manages, and then you can select the respective dependency from this drop down. Okay, so as of now, I am using the community edition, so I have the latest one, so that will work for me. Okay, now let us see what else it says. So now coming to the workflow migration. So this is my workflow, and we have open browser, attached browser, and all of these details. So first of all, for all the open and the attached browser activity, you need to change the browser type from IE to Chromium, Edge, or to the Firefox. Let us do that. So first of all, I am having an open browser. We were just opening this Acme URL. So let me go to the properties, and we will just change the browser type now to Edge. Okay, so similarly, the same thing would have to do for the Edge attached browser also. So in the attached browser, if I go here and the browser type was, now that we have made the changes to the open browser and the attached browser, let us quickly validate whether if these things are working or not. Okay, so we have not changed the selector. Let me put a breakpoint here, and let us try to run if the open browser is able to open this URL in the Edge or not. Okay, so let me just go ahead and close this Edge. As of now, I will go here and debug the file. Okay, so the processing has started. Now the expectation is it should open the Edge browser. So the bot has started, and the Edge browser with this URL. Okay, so the first step is working for us, right? So let me just go ahead and stop it. So that is how the open browser was successfully able to change by just updating the property here from IE to Edge. Okay, so now that the browser was successfully able to open in the Edge browser, now the next step was to type in the user ID and the password. Okay, so now this activity is working, and we have put a breakpoint here. Let me just remove this breakpoint. Now if I go to the selector for the input email and I just try to validate the selector, if I click on highlight, you will see the correct item is getting highlighted for the email. Okay, if I just check it for the password also, now edit selector, highlight, right, it is correctly identifying the element for the user ID and the password in the Edge browser. Okay, let us validate the button. If I go here, edit the selector, highlight, so it is correctly identifying the button element. But how come by just changing this element these selectors are getting modified? Okay, so let me just do one thing. So if I go to the properties of this selector, and this let me just expand the selector here. So this is the selector as of now which we have got for the this one for the Edge browser. Let me quickly take a snipping tool, and I will just take a snip of this one. Okay, let me go here and I will just take a snipping shot. Okay, so this is the selector which we have got from the edge selector, right? So how UiPath has done it. So if you remember previously, we just changed the open browser from IE to Edge. Let me just quickly revert it to the IE now. Okay, so as soon as I revert it to I, you will notice the selector which was previously available was this selector, right? Acme UiPath Web Control ID, and this is the new selector which we got after changing it to the Chromium Edge. So this one is for the Chromium Edge. So this one is for the, excuse my Picasso skills here. Okay, so this one is for the edge and this one is was for the eye. So if you will notice, the web control type ID is the same, the HTML URL is the same, but when we have changed the browser type to Edge, UiPath has added this thing in the front of it, and because of it the selectors are again getting validated. Okay, so let me just quickly go ahead and change this guy again from eye to Edge. Okay, let me save this. Okay, so now if I just go here, now we would have got the same selector. Okay, this one, edge one. Okay, now let us go back to the documentation and see what was written here. Okay, so we have done this thing where we have to change the browser type to I. The next one was the selector migration. Okay, so you can regenerate all the selectors by using the target browser. That is one option, that by clicking on indicate element. Also, this was what was given. So if the selector was like this or like this, we have to use the app is equal to msg.exe for edge selectors. So if you will see in our screenshot, right, so UiPath has automatically added the HTML app is equal to msg.exe in our URL whenever we just changed the browser type from sorry, when we changed the browser type from I to Edge. Okay, so that is why it is working for us. So similarly, what we can do if it is Edge, so if it is Chrome, so UiPath will put chrome.exe, firefox.exe, right? So this is how, this is an example which is pretty good explanation which is given in UiPath forum. I'll put the link in the description and you can refer that. So basically what it is saying, that if your previous selector was like this, the new selector should be something like msg.exe, chrome.exe, firefox.exe, and this will again be decided based on the browser you are migrating to. So for example, for me it is Edge, that's why we are getting the selector as this. And if you will notice, from my coding point of view, I didn't have to change anything. UiPath did already this for me, right? So now let me just quickly go ahead and put a debugger in the attached browser. Okay, and let us see whether we are able to log in to the browser successfully or not. So if we are successfully able to log in, that means our everything is working till login. Okay, and all that I have changed is just this guy. Okay, so let me quickly close this one. Okay, and run the file or debug the file. Okay, so now it will open the Acme URL in the Chromium side, and it will type the user ID and the password which is we are getting from the orchestrator. Okay, so it has opened the Acme login site. Now it is fetch the user ID, password, click on the login button, and we are successfully able to log in. So I will just click on this never, and you will see that up to this step we were successfully able to navigate from the I browser to the Edge browser. Okay, now let us move forward. What does this say? It says if the source package have selector starting with WND tag via studio activity indicate function, this selector would identify the pop-up alert. So as of now, I don't have anything of this sort. So let us try to, go ahead and see what our workflow is having. And at last, they have mentioned that last but not the least, test, and test, thoroughly test everything. So that is what we are going to do now. Okay, so let me just go ahead and use the same concept for the other activities and see whether we are able to do the same thing or not. Okay, so the next step in my process was to click on this healthcare button and click on this download daily appointment. Okay, so let me go to the attached browser, and I have already changed the browser type to I. Okay, so if I notice the selector now, if I just click on okay, sorry, my bad. So attached browser, I have already updated the selector to the edge. If I click now here, if I go to the properties, and if I go, sorry, my bad, so if I go here properties, so this is the selector, and if we click on highlight, this is not working, right? So now what is the thing we have to do, right? So what I can do is, as suggested by UiPath, we can always put this in the front and let us see whether it is working or not. Okay, so let me go here. I can go to the forum and Let me just put this guy HTML. I will just put this tag HTML tag like this, okay, in my selector. And if it is not working, we have to just re-indicate the element. Title is equal to, okay, we have put to HTML. So HTML, and how was the syntax? HTML app is equal to, okay, like this. HTML app is equal to, and since we are using the Chrome, so we will use the msg dot this guy. Okay, Control C. I will go here and I will paste it like this. So is it the same? I have taken in the screenshot. HTML app is equal to this one, and then the URL and the title. Let me click on validate. Selector cannot be updated because the XML syntax is wrong. Okay, let me just check it once again. Okay, validate, highlight. Okay, and I am now able to correctly identify the element. Let me just park this selector which I have created as of now in my notepad. Okay, so this selector is working for me. What is the alternative I have, right? So the next alternative I have, if it is not getting highlighted, if I go here and it is not getting highlighted, I can always go ahead and click on the repair, and I will point it to this guy. Could not repair the selector, create re-indicate. Okay, because the browser has changed, right? So let me go ahead and indicate the element and click at the center of the browser, and you will see we are getting the same selector which we have created manually, right? So that is how this thing is working. Pretty interesting, right? So let me just go ahead and click OK. So if you will see, this was the selector which we created, and this was what Uipath has created, right? So it is as simple as that. Just add this option, app is equal to msg.exe for the edge selectors, and this is working, right? Interesting. Okay, let me save everything. I will go here. Let me just revalidate, highlight. I am able to see the red line across. That means my selectors are working. Okay. Now what about this button? So let me just go ahead and click on this edit selector. You will see the app is added here. It's added here, but still we are not able to validate this button. So let me just quickly go here and let us see why exactly it is not working. The app is equal to app is added here, but this thing is not working. So let me go here and Control A, Control C. Let's try to repair it and see what exactly is the difference we are getting. Okay, so click on repair. Let me go to the Acme site, and which was the button? I think, sorry, I forgot the button. This was the healthcare button. Okay, so let me go ahead and repair and healthcare. Selector was updated to match the live element. So what did we miss? So Control C, and I will paste it here. Okay, so healthcare, the additional attribute name here, it is coming. Why the additional attribute name? So previously my additional attribute name was healthcare. Now the additional attribute name is healthcare something followed by a star. So why this has changed? Let me go to UI Explorer and investigate why we are getting a different A name here, right? Let me just open the UI Explorer. I will go to indicate element and let us see the selector for the healthcare, right? So if you will see, there is a space which is coming in front of the A name, right? So that is why it is not able to identify, and that is why if I was, my previous selector was like this, right? My previous selector was like this. If I click on validate, it was not able to work. So since there was a space, so UiPath has put a star for me. That was pretty intelligent, and then it is working. Okay, so this is the change. I have to just made a star. I click on validate, and now if I just go here, indicate, edit the selector, I can always go ahead and put a star here in my old selector of I. Click on validate, highlight, and this is correctly highlighting now. Okay, now what is the next thing? I have to click on this download daily appointment. If I click on edit selector, highlight. Okay, let me just do it like this. How can I verify? It says it is able to correctly highlight. That's a hidden menu, by the way. So okay, let us, we can run it and then test it. Okay, so now if I just run this flow, till this step and I've put a debugger here, what should happen is it should be successfully able to open this download daily appointment. Let me go here. I will log out the portal. Okay, I will close this and let us try to run this flow in the debug mode now. Okay, and debug the file. Now the expectation is we should open it in Edge browser, get the credential from the orchestrator, log in, and then click on the reports and the download daily appointment now. Okay, log in. Okay, it's just waiting for the login to fire up. Healthcare, download daily appointments, and we are successfully on the extraction page. How cool is that, right? So let me just go ahead and stop it. Okay, so now in the workflow, the next step was data scraping. For the data scraping, again, I have used a attached browser. If I go here and edit the selector, again, the same thing because we have not added that app thing in front of it. So easily I can go here, indicate on element, point it to the browser, and it will just add an app here, right? App msg.exe. Right, so this is what UiPath has recommended. If it is getting added automatically, then well and good, but if it is not getting added, you can always go ahead and add this app is equal to msg.exe. And why we are adding it? Because we are using the this browser. Okay, let me go ahead and click OK. Now if I go here, edit the selector, you will see highlight. I'm correctly able to identify the box. Okay, so the next was extract the structure data. So this is just a data scraping. If I go to the selectors now and if I click on highlight, it's correctly able to identify the grid as well. Okay, so the next step was to just write the data in an Excel sheet and store the data in the sheet called data.xlsx. Now let me quickly go ahead and change it to data of edge so that we are sure. So no more changes here, and the last we are just using the kill process. In the kill process, the process name is iexplore.exe. That was for Internet Explorer. Let us see what is that for Edge. How can I check that? I will go here. I can go to the properties and it is this msg dot this one. Okay, so this is the exe name. Okay, so this is the exe name. For Internet Explorer, it was iexplore.exe. For this guy, this is msedge.exe. Okay, so now what I have to do is in my kill process, in the previous one, I was just using iexplore. Now let me just change it to this guy also. Let us see if it is actually able to kill it or not. Okay, so now my automation seems pretty much completed. Let me just log out. Okay, and close the browser. Let us try to run. Now it should completely run this automation. Data scraping should be done, and at the end we should be able to kill the process as well. Okay, let me go ahead and now why don't we run it on the debug mode only. We will be able to see how exactly it is performing. Okay, website is open. Okay, user ID, password getting from the orchestrator. Login is working, healthcare is working, download is working. Now the debugger would be on the data scraping, right? Let me just quickly go ahead and press step into. Now it would attach the browser, this guy, do the data scraping for me. And once the data scraping is done, we should be successfully able to write the thing in the right range. So as of now, this thing is working for me. Attach browser. Okay, I think it is looking for the browser. Let us just wait what exactly is happening. And we is not able to find the attach element for HTML. Okay, I'll click on stop. Let us validate the selectors now. Okay, so the bot was not able to find this attach browser. Let me go here, click on edit the selector, highlight. It is correctly highlighting, so that means we are missing something else. We go to the attached browser properties. Okay, so this is the mistake, right? If you will see, the browser tab is still selected as I. Let me go ahead and change it to Edge. Because we have only changed in this and this, and we did not change the one inside the data scraping. So whenever you are having some attached browser, so that was the first step, which was whenever you are having a browser, you just have to change it for the all the open and the attached browser. You need to change the browser type activity. I forgot to change that in this activity. And now once this is everything is done, we wanted to print the data in the sheet called data edge.xlsx. Okay, so let me save everything. I will go here and let us try to run the file. Before that, let me just log out of the portal and I will close this one. And at the end, we have added a sequence to kill the process. And let me just verify we have got this one. So we'll validate this also. Okay, I'll go here and run the file. Now it should open the internet edge. Okay, so acme test URL login is available. User ID password coming from the orchestrator. Login selector is working for me. This selector is working. Now the attached browser, scraping, everything is done. Let me go to the output and there is no error. If I go to the project location, so if I click on the refresh, now I see a file called data from edge. Let me just double click the data from edge. Okay, let it load. And I am getting this many record. Let me quickly validate it with the data which we have got from the I, which was this file data.xlsx. Okay, and this is the data edge. Let me do it like this. Okay, so this is the data from the edge and this is the data from I. So you will see we were successfully able to get the similar result from the edge browser now, and I was successfully able to kill the browser as well, right? So that means our this activity is also working. The only change I had to do was to change this guy. How cool is that? So right, so now if we will see what all changes we have done, right? So we have just changed the browser type. Wherever it was not working, we can manually add this step. So this documentation is really helpful. I'll put the links and you can refer that. Let us see what extra information is available here. So if the source process is having a selector which is called WND, so if you are having some WND tag, so you need to regenerate the selector. So you have to just click on indicate the element, because repair the element will not work. We have seen, right? So you just have to regenerate the selectors. This selector identify windows like pop-up. So whenever you are having a pop-up or an alert, so that's where you have to regenerate the selectors. And this is important. Last but not least, test and test throughout, test everything. So that completes our demonstration from migrating a sample process from a IE browser to the Edge browser. Okay, so I will wrap this video here. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please do subscribe to the channel, and happy automation.